What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel with Exhausted. So guys, in today's episode what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some interior modification and little bits and bobs on the MX-5 to get it ready for gauges and a couple of little naughty things which I've got. So I've got two like old school toggle switches which look really awesome, look like they're from like a plane or something like that, which are going to be installed in the car, and I'm not going to disclose what these are going to be wiring up yet. That's going to be a surprise, boys, for a later day. But we're going to install these and we're going to wire them up to around here, so then they're all nicely in place. We've also got an old panel, and what I did is I relocated the immobiliser light from here, so then we can remake this panel out of black acrylic and have 3 gauges sitting in there. So we're going to basically remake this extra panel with a sheet of acrylic, and we've got some wiring, other little bits and bobs. So yeah, without no further ado guys, let's get to work and start working on the MX-5. So first of all, we've got a replacement. So in here we had the ashtray, which was pretty pointless, couldn't really be used for much. So what we've got here is we've got this piece from MX-5 parts, and it's got a phone holder here, so you can have your phone chilling there with the screen up, and this other little compartment which you could use for whatever you fancy, like change other little bits and bobs, which I thought was really good. Looks OEM, so yeah, really good little buy. Only cost me like 17, 18 pounds, so that's perfect. So all we're going to do is we're going to pull this off and put it right into this hole. As you can see, it pretty much looks OEM in there. You can't notice that it wasn't made with the car. So that's really nice, and it's very handy. So next thing we want to do is get these switches onto one of the interior panels. So we need to get out a drill. Bish, bash, bosh. So what we're going to do, we're going to crack these open and work out what size hole we need to drill. Now that looks pretty tight on there. That's what he said. I'm just going to quickly go and grab an extension lead. Bloody hell, like literally, I just started drilling on it, and as soon as I put pressure down, it was like, beep, and went straight through. That was easy. So what we're going to do is go at it with a circular file, just widen these up a bit. And we're just going to bolt these switches onto the panel. So we've got both our switches on here. So we've got both our switches on this panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to run some wires from these somewhere up into the car, just so they're out of the way and we can install this back into the car. So boys, we've got our switches nicely installed into here. I love the location of these. And as you can see, just flick them up and down. Looks lovely. We've got the wires all coming down here. The reason why they're not all poked under there yet is because I need to modify something for this, for the gauge cluster, and you can't bolt this back in because then you need to unbolt it again to take this out. So, you know, do two things at the same time. So what we are going to do now is we're going to be recreating this panel out of some black acrylic, which surprisingly the texture and the colour match is pretty much perfect. It's just going to look very OEM as well, which is fantastic. It's what I always go for. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this. I'm not going to use a dread metal because it's just going to melt the acrylic. So I'm going to be using a hacksaw. I've measured the width of this, so we're just going to go ahead and cut this with a hacksaw. So we've got this cut, we're going to leave these pads on and just see if it's roughly the right size. So guys, now this piece sits nicely in there, like that. It's just how it's going to sit. We're going to have to mark out where to drill our holes. So what we're going to do is I want to use this chalk marker, and I'm going to basically paint nice dots on these. Just colour all of them in. Just as quickly as possible because we want this to stay wet. Then what we're going to do is we are going to grab this and basically drop it in like that and push it down. then pull it off, and we've got roughly our marking points for the 4 holes, which is perfect. So we're going to go ahead and now basically drill through where these holes are. Got our 4 holes nicely like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and mark out now where we want to drill our circles for our gauges. So we've got a 52mm hole saw, roughly 52, I think it's about 51, which is a bit of a weird size. But what I've basically measured, doing a bit of maths, is that we've got about 60 centimetres across. This is roughly 180 millimetres, sorry, it's 18 centimetres. So we've got enough for about 3 on here. Hopefully that will fit nicely. But we're going to have to wait and find out. So I'm going to go ahead and drill 3 holes and see if this is going to work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue this in place on here so it's perfect and ready to go. So guys, this is completely dry, so we've flipped her over. Now look at that. Super clean, and it's going to look awesome with 3 more gauges there and 2 there. So I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and leave it to dry for a little bit longer because it's dry to the touch, but it's obviously not completely bonded yet. So we're going to leave this to dry for a bit, and then we're going to install it back into the car. So boys, we've got everything back into the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera and show you what it looks like. So as you can see guys, I think it looks so cool. I think those switches really add to the look of the car, and in terms of where the gauges are going to go, we're just waiting for the gauges to come so we can attach those in. So if we have a look down here, so these are both our positive wires which are connected to either switch right there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting those into the into where the cigarette lighter goes, because that is a ignition kind of 12 volt thing, a 12 volt source. So basically when you turn the key, this will turn on, which is good because we don't want these to be left on all the time. If I leave those on by accident, we don't want them to be draining the battery. So we're going to connect this up to these. We're also going to obviously be wiring up both these top gauges and all 3 of these gauges as well into this as well. So there's going to be like 7 things wired into this, which is going to become quite messy if we're going to be trying to attach wires together. So what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using like a block. I'm not sure if you know what I mean, I'll have to buy one, but it's like a white block and it's got loads of screws. You can connect loads of wires into them. These are usually 1 to 1, so there'll be 1 across, 1 across, 1 across. So I'm going to have to bridge them all together so it flows the current through all of them, and that will save us having loads of messy wiring connections, and it will make the connections a lot more sturdy. But yeah, that's all for today guys. I just wanted to get that sorted out the way because I've got an MOT in a couple of hours, which is awesome. Hopefully it passes. I reckon it will fail on a couple of little bits and bobs which I haven't had time to sort out yet, but they may not notice, so I thought it's always worth it to get it MOT'd, and these guys do a free retest within 2 weeks. So if it does fail, then I can always fix it in the next couple of days and bring it in early next week. So that's definitely, I thought, worth getting out of the way. That way I know everything that needs to be changed, sort it all out, and then we'll book it in for another MOT. So the MX-5 is going to be on the road really shortly. And if you guys didn't know, we've actually had an email as of this morning to say that the manifold and the downpipe have been dispatched and they're going to be here on Tuesday, which is in 3 days because of the bank holiday weekend. But by the time you're seeing this, it's going to be a bit after that. But yeah, the MX-5 build is pretty much finished now. We've got those coming. But yeah, that's all for today's video guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and this is useful. That gauge cluster which I made out of a piece of acrylic only cost me £4 all in to make, and if you buy the ones from stuff like MX-5 parts, all of that, it's going to set you back 40 odd quid or even more to get a screw-in panel. So I definitely recommend doing that. And if you're doing a turbo build on your MX-5 yourself, it's always good to save money where you can on bits which aren't going to affect the overall performance. And to be quite honest, it looks really good. I've got a matte black acrylic and it blends in to that tombstone very, very well. You wouldn't even notice it's a different bit of plastic. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Smash that thumbs up button if you thought that was useful, and subscribe down below and turn on that notification bell for more of the latest Exhausted content. You can't see my face. And until the next one, guys, adios.